Welcome to Magical Aspirations, a podcast for magical people,
where we aspire to gather all of the knowledge that magic has to offer.
A place to illuminate and demystify all things magical.
We are your magical co-hosts. I am Annalisa.
Reverend Raven here.
Adriana.
Tune in every Tuesday where we're dropping new episodes every week about our own personal magical stories.
Have a spanking good time.
And sprinkle some interviews in between.
There is so much magic here. Keep coming back every week. Stay magical.
Stay magical.
Stay magical.
Welcome to Magical Aspirations, everyone. We are joined today by our soul sister, Ms. Jackie, and we have a lot to talk about today. We are right off of the heels of our Elemental Magic series, and we just finished talking about spirit. And I think that spirit still has a lot more to say. So I am joined here today by my lovely co-host, Annalisa. Say hello to the people.
Hello, people.
Hello, and Miss Jackie, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me again. It's quite possibly my favorite podcast to be on.
Yes.
My God. Yes.
What an honor. What an honor.
Yes. I love to listen. I don't listen as frequently as I would hope, but Spirit knows what it's doing when it puts me on an episode. It knows what it's doing.
Right, it really does every single time, because this was a couple of weeks ago, maybe, that it was your the episode you did about imposter syndrome. I sent it over to the girls and I was like, this is a really solid listen. I've had it on my playlist for, I don't know, a couple of months now.
Wow.
And it was perfect timing for what I needed right at that moment, because I've been battling with that quite a bit over these last many months. And you just had some really, really poignant things to say. And I really appreciate, Becky and I were talking about this before you hopped on, the light that you offered to the people. So I'm really grateful for you to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much. That's why I do it is, it's really scary to share sometimes, especially the vulnerable stuff or whatever. But that's my jam. It is what gets me through the hard stuff, not the fastest, because I'm not trying to bypass anything, the most effectively, the most efficiently, the most wholesome, and the most complete. Like, if I'm leaving stuff off, then I'm not getting what I need. But I love sharing, because people, like you just saying that now, I'm gonna cry. It's the purpose. It's why I'm here. Like, I went through my hard shit so that I could help the people. And I absolutely love hearing that. That's why I do it.
So for those who don't know Jackie, she was on the pod last Ostara with our Fuck It Ostara episode. Yes. And that is one of Jackie's many names, is Fuck It Jackie. She does a lot of really cool things. So tell us a little bit about all of the things that you are into right now.
Oh, okay. I like that you put right now, because, I'm in everything. And so right now I'm taking it slow, like the whole health thing. I'm doing plant medicine. I got to tell you, which is a story. It's great.
Yes.
You're gonna love it. So I grew carrots a couple of years ago. When I first got here, I was told I couldn't have anything in the ground. I rent. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'll just do pots. And then I got some big, I got some pots to do some big raised beds. And so I did that. And the first time I did carrots, they were laughable. Just, all carrot top, no carrot. It was just the classic, laughable carrot. And a friend of mine was like, oh, you can't grow carrots down here. This is Louisiana. They need this and that. And all I heard was what they needed, not that I couldn't. And so I did that, and they love loose, sandy soil. They like good drainage. And so I was like, oh, perfect conditions. I can do that. I replicated it, tried again, and I planted carrots this year, and I just watched them patiently pop up. So last season, one of my friends had carrots, and she pulled a bunch of them out for me. And I think that's where it kind of the carrot ahead of the cart. It got me, y'all. And
Yeah.
she sent me home. I made carrot top pesto. It was amazing. And I was like, I can do this. I'm going to do it again. And so I did. And those carrot tops were gorgeous. And I was like, you better be doing a thing underneath. Okay, let's do it. We got it. And I watered them and I gave them love. And I went out there every morning in my pain and I transmuted it into beauty in my garden. Whew.
Yes. That is magic.
That is fucking magic. I am a plant witch through and through, so I feel you there.
Yeah.
Plants sneak up all the time, and my husband's always like, "Where did this one come from? Where did
Oh,
this one come
it just
from?"
came home.
Right, they just popped up like it's a little volunteer. But now it's been really fascinating because I had a lot of like succulents and like ornamental things to start, and now I too am branching out into plant medicine. And we've got this big, beautiful native passion vine that it's growing on our fence, and we had like a little runner pop up outside of the garden itself.
Mm.
And I was like talking all about it, and when I finally started with my husband saying like, oh well, it's really medicinal and like it treats all kind of stuff, like it can help you sleep and like help with like alleviate some depression symptoms and things like that. And he was kind of like, oh, that's really fascinating, and talking about like the roots, the leaves, the stalks, the flowers, the fruit, like all of these things. Like, so now I can see, because he cooks, so now he's perking up like, oh well, what about this plant and what about this plant? And I'm like,
Yeah.
And that's
Wow.
cool because I know how y'all's dynamic is, how you practice, and he lets you be free. And
yeah,
that's kind of like a stair step in. That's a way that you can share your spirituality, your practice. There's like a little bridge for that little tiny gap because it really wasn't a big gap that was like, oh no, like you practice different. It was just a like, hey, you can practice over there. And that's kind of cool whenever you get to share in the magic. Like
yeah,
magic
and
is
like in
best.
normalize it amongst each other, because like every time he goes to like take an herb from the garden, I'm like, make sure you ask and say thank you. And like he would
Yeah.
kind of look at me funny at first, but now like he'll come inside and I'm like, you told the plant thank you, right? And he's like, you know I did. And I'm like, hey, yes, yes.
Yes. Even if it doesn't really make sense, then you can break it down and help it make sense.
Yeah.
But, you guys, this carrot had it what is it called when it seeds bolts? It, like, bolted it. It
Oh yes.
overwintered itself because you know how we have, like, second freeze come in, and it killed all my stuff
Ugh.
except for my carrots, and I was gonna pull up one of the carrots because it bolted and it becomes inedible and da 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 da, and it doesn't serve, but does it? So it put out these gorgeous umbrella, like, if you've seen Queen Anne's lace, it's like a little
Oh,
umbrella.
yeah. Mhm.
Queen Anne's lace is wild carrot, so they're the same. And when these flowers bloomed, you guys, I cried. I cried. It
Mhm.
hit me so hard when I smelled these beautiful medicinal, oaty, nourishing. It smelled like the bath that your mom puts you in when you have poison ivy almost. It was like
Oh,
healing. And it
yeah.
was so good. I just cried. Tears streamed down my face. I didn't know it was happening. I mean, I knew it was happening, but I couldn't explain it. And like me and Plant Magic were just connecting so hard. And
Yeah.
all the time and effort that I put in, all those you can't grow carrots was just slapping me in the face. And when I pulled my carrots, they were like as big as my arm. They were gigantic, not as thick, but as long. And they were beautiful. And I just ran inside, told my husband, they came out. I like dragged him outside. I was like, come look at this magic.
Yes.
See, I grew this. And it was just a moment. And that taught me so much. And I connected so hard.
Mhm.
But it was just like perseverance. And it's the whole like, don't worry about what other people are doing or what's on the surface. Like, make sure your roots
Yes.
are good, baby. Is
Yes.
your
Yes.
root edible? Are you
Yes.
sustainable? And that got me. It was so overwhelming. I really couldn't articulate in that moment what was happening. But it was all those things. It's that like doubt and that try me and that like
Mhm.
persistence and the transmutation and the magic and the waiting and the patience. Like my carrot's still doing the thing outside and waiting on it to seed. And just watching the entire process has really helped me disconnect from a very busy world, very busy lifestyle, very busy go, 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 go,
Mhm.
go. The mindset of people pleasing, people pleasing, people pleasing, because that, as much as I am a servant at heart, it's also tied to trauma and people pleasing and don't want to be left out and rejected and forgot about. And so it really helped me just kind of turn some of those heavy feelings, and again,
Mhm.
that transmutation, and just tune in with the nature that I am.
Mhm.
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 Yeah.
Something else cool that I've been watching that you've been working on, and you can tell us more about this, Jackie, is your artwork,
Mm.
the physical
Oh.
artwork.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of different things that I call art, like
Mhm.
everything is art, but my current brush love is myself.
Mhm.
I am my own muse. For a long time, I would be struck by someone gorgeous and just be like, I have to paint that. I have to put that. I have to do that. I have to connect with the art that is that and do it. And so I would, and then I would put other people like on this. I have a what's it called? Not a tripod, an easel in my living room. And I used to have like the project of the whatever and painting of whatever. And then one day, after some issues of this other project that I had of falling through, I took that picture off that picture and I put a fucking mirror because I am my best project. I am my greatest project I will ever work on. I am my best experiment. I am just like me. It's me. I'm not being selfish, but it's main character energy. This is my story. This is my song. This is my thing.
Mhm.
And looking outside of myself was not a bad thing, but there was something missing. And it was just that self appreciation and that wonder. And so I'm doing watercolor right now, and it's blowing my mind because I didn't
Mhm.
know I could do watercolor that good. Like, it's just crazy. But my integration of skills is happening all over. So I'm doing
Mhm.
art, I'm doing watercolor, I'm doing I just sent Becky a beautiful
Yeah.
fabulous hat pin with like a tooth out of my deer skull, or I think it's a cow skull, out of my garden. And it's got like some feathers. It's got a feather from an owl that I processed and honored and did some ritual work with and bonded to my sisters and self, and a raven's feather, and I just and some
Mhm.
copper because magic alchemy,
Absolutely.
and I think it's got some mahogany
Yeah.
obsidian.
Obsidian, yep, yep.
Yeah, and
I
so that's
threw it
my
up there in the light and
favorite.
was like, "Look at this," and showed my husband, and he was like, "Oh."
I love
Yes.
creating things with intention. Something that really got me one day was Adam. It was Mr. Moose. He said, "Oh, it was my husband," and they're like, "Oh, Jackie's like the most intentional person that we know. Like it wasn't on accident or like no, that was an
Right.
intentional action." And everybody knows that. And so I really love that. But that's the art that I'm doing. So if it has like a
Mhm.
significance or a meaning or something that really got me while we were traveling was looking up properties and correspondences and stuff. My aunt gave my son a crystal, and we're still kind of up in debate about what it is. And I meant to ask you. I was like, my
Mm.
cool geology friends would know,
Yeah.
but I
Send us
think
a video because
I
sometimes
will.
pictures don't, show it all.
Yeah, for sure, I will do that. And I think it's like a crystal light or a crystal something. But he was like looking it up, and he was like comparing and using Google Lens, and like that's the magic, that's the art, that's the connecting with self, like following your little spiritual breadcrumbs. And
Mhm.
that's how I let my art lead me these days, is just like in the yard, in the garden, like I harvested this and I made that, that's how I'm doing art. I'm doing natural tooth powders and stuff because I like to do it, and I'm doing oils because I like to do the process. I love a good process. And so that's my current art. I have all kinds of stuff that I want to do. But that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm into like natural dyes. Me and my aunt just dyed a tea towel with turmeric that
Ah,
I
yes.
I peeled the turmeric and I bawled. I cried. I was like, "I don't know.
Oh.
I'm so sorry." Plant medicine, because I've been doing turmeric infusion and making, like a turmeric, pineapple, orange, ginger, black pepper shot. It's
Mm.
so good. I sent, I think Annalisa the recipe. It is
Yes, you know it.
yes,
For the
it
grocery
was
store later today.
yes, it's so good. Make it in a big batch, freeze half, keep half in the fridge, chug that, every
Yes.
couple of days or whatever. But, we made some tea towels, embroidered. I embroidered a carrot on mine, like a carrot plant with
Yes.
the flowers to commemorate, and that was spirit for me. That was following my spiritual breadcrumbs. Like, I don't need to be making events and posters and this and that, and I have a website. We have a website with Miss Reverend Raven,
Mhm.
mannysoul.art.com,
Mhm.
mannysoulart.com, and I'm not working on it right now. Like, I just invested into it, Shopify, and I like loaded 2 things and a person, and I was like, that's good for now. Like, I explored what I wanted to explore. And when I have the space, because I'm currently recharging, and I know that it's a season, we go through seasons and cycles.
Right.
I'm gonna hit that Shopify so hard you will know it. But
Right.
right now, I'm sitting on an ice pack and I have a cup of water and I'm hanging out at 11 o'clock chatting to some of my favorite witches and taking it easy. And that's for me, that's spirit and that's art. That's what's up. Following your heart.
Yes. So I want to bounce back to talking about plants. A couple weeks ago, I shared my struggle with growing tomatoes. I had blossom end rot. And
Oh.
basically what was happening is the plants weren't getting consistent amount of water. They had been shocked in the move, and all of the fruits on the end of them were starting to rot. Well, since then, we have them in a consistent spot. We're watering them daily, and the second flush of fruits is coming out, and none of them had the blossom end rot.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Oh,
And the
that is so
message that
exciting.
came through from Spirit about
Mhm.
that was that tomato plant, the early girl, that was
Yeah,
me. And
yeah.
I wasn't taking care of myself yet. So I wasn't able to find a job and move forward and do all these things that I wanted
Mm,
to do because I wasn't fucking ready yet.
yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, you had
mhm.
other tasks on the board, and I think spirit has a really beautiful way of kind of being like, we're gonna do
Right.
this.
Well,
Mhm.
And
and it really does because not to cut you off, but
yeah,
I want before I forget, it was fascinating when Becky, when you were texting Adriana and I about the tomato plant specifically. I can't remember if we talked about this on the air or not, but Becky thought she was texting only me.
Yep.
I haven't done any veggies yet. Like I'm getting there, but I'm not a big tomato person. So I've never grown a tomato in my life. Becky was actually texting Adriana and Adriana had all of the information that she needed before I
Yes.
any of it.
oh,
So I
Which
thought that
even
that was
shared a
such
TikTok
a
with me about
yes,
about trimming my
like
tomato plants. It was
yeah.
awesome.
coming hot off the heels of our spirit episode where we talked about spirit being an ally when we ask for help. Like, wasn't that such a fabulous detour that like you maybe hadn't thought to ask Adriana, but spirit was like, shh, I got you.
Right.
Yeah, spirit was like, actually, let's do it like this.
Right.
Right.
Um, yeah.
And I feel like that is such an important lesson for us to remember to take care of ourselves. Like you said,
Mhm.
Jackie, you are your biggest inspiration, your biggest art. You know, we have to take care of ourselves if
Yeah.
we want to do anything.
Anything.
Mm.
And you would think that I've learned that lesson because it's literally happened so much over the past few years. Like I ripped my hamstring doing a dance move by not warming up. I like hopped up off the couch from after working out or doing something and cooling down already and was watching a video. I was like, I can do that. And I went and did it. And no, I can't. And it put me flat for a year. Couldn't do anything. And it took a long time to heal. And then I like fractured my foot dancing. Like I've had so many dance injuries. I'd injured my back dancing. I'm sitting on ice pack because I like did a workout. And so I'm benched and it's telling me like you've got to slow down. Like you've got to take care of you. You keep doing these other things and why don't you do you for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wise words. Those are very
Stop
wise words.
sabotaging ourselves from trying
Yeah.
to like just keep going and going and going. Like
Yes.
we can't. We're not the Energizer fucking bunnies, you know.
How
No, right.
rude. How
I'm
dare
rude,
you?
but I want to
How dare
be.
you? How dare you? And that's a really big thing that I've been experiencing. Like, so my aunt was like, "Have you tried trauma therapy?" And I was like, I was like, "Yes, that's my jam. I am my own shaman." And so I've had a lot of sessions and deep trigger release, deep trauma release, and that is part of it. Like, I don't have to be my aunt was like, "You don't have to be on all the time." And I'm like, "I'm not. Like, if you really know me, you know, like my business page is not like I don't have like this Facebook persona and it's this fake like you guys see it. It's just like it's also a business. So I have a business front, but it's a very clear front. Like it's very transparent. And I will tell people like you have got to slow down and rest. And then spirit be like, "Yeah, why don't we take that advice?" And then it benches me.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very much about balancing and being, slow with yourself where you need it and pushing yourself where you need it and taking that time. But I really discovered that I'm a people pleaser, and that does
Mhm.
no good for anybody. Like, I will sit there and, like, smoke will be blowing in my face, and I'll be like, "It's fine, it's fine." No, it's not fine. I don't like it. I don't smoke. I don't it bothers my allergies. I don't like the way the smoke sticks in my hair. Like, I have hair, like, for days, and I don't like it. I don't like it, and I'll just be like, "It's okay." Instead of being like, "Nah," 'cause I don't wanna make waves. I don't wanna rock the boat. I don't wanna be that person. It wasn't a sexual assault, but it was. One time we were visiting my husband's family, and a guy was there that was, like, extra to the family or whatever, and we, like, walked in the bedroom door, and I don't know where this guy got this idea. I'm just a very nice person, and people take that as like, "Oh, you're flirting with me." No, I just have, like, respect,
Yeah.
and, like, I'm nice, and yeah, I'm gonna smile at you. No, I don't wanna go to bed with you.
Right.
But he, like, walked in the bedroom and kinda, like, walked and put his hand behind my back and slid his fingers, like, down the seam of my pants, like, the back of my
Mhm.
pants,
Mm.
and I, like, froze and freaked out. My husband is gigantic, bear, smash, Hulk smash, and this was the first time he was seeing his family, and I did not want my husband to beat that man in front of all these people. You know what I mean? Because that's what it would have happened. He would have just I mean, just tore that man apart, and I knew that, and I did not wanna cause that, and so I didn't wanna be a whistleblower, and I didn't want anybody to look
Mm.
at me, and so I've gone that's not the only thing, but that is a huge programming that has happened, and that is something that I'm trying to undo. Like, I don't care who's getting smashed, I'm not in the wrong.
Right.
I have to step aside, that's fine, but I don't care who's in the way of karma anymore. And I'm not protecting people from karma. I'm not smoothing things over. You know, um, I'm not doing that. And I don't know how we got here, but we are. Here we are.
Well, no, I'm here for it because I think that that really comes in with that where it's Leo season now,
Mhm.
and everybody's favorite Leo,
Yep.
Becky's here with us. And one of the things that she has taught me over our friendship is the value of standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Hell yeah.
there are things that we are done making ourselves small over. I was talking
Mm.
with my older sister about this past week because I had a run in with some fuckface in a parking lot a couple of weeks ago, or no, it was last weekend, where I'm in a parking lot with full open parking. I'm in a spot on the very end of the parking lot. This asshole comes and whips it in right next to me, opens
Uh,
his car door on my brand new car, and like looks me in my eyeballs and goes to walk away. And I was like, you know what?
no,
Today's the
sir.
day that Annalise is choosing violence. So like I rolled down my window and I called that asshole out. And like
Yes.
he was so it was okay, maybe not the smartest thing to do in hindsight, but like I was incensed that this man looked me in my eyes, knew he had done something wrong, disrespected me and my property. And I was just like, no, no. And we got into a verbal tussle, and he was
Yeah.
indignant that I dared insinuate that he had done something wrong.
How dare
And then was
you?
like, you're parked over the line. And I was like, you chose to come park next to me. And like, that
Right.
has been a real metaphor for my whole life lately, that like, I
Oof.
do a lot to keep myself at the other end of the parking lot to avoid shit like that. Like, go be an
Mhm.
asshole on the other end of the parking lot where there's 30 other empty spaces. And like, I'm not going park on the other end of the fucking parking lot anymore. Like,
Right.
that's
Yes.
been a big message for me, and for Leo season, about like, stand up. Like, because if that had, that this white fucking asshole, if someone had opened their car door and his car door,
Oh, yeah, the entitlement, the
but
Yep.
he could
audacity.
not. The fact that I called him out, like, you could see it in his eyes that he was like, this little girl's really about to try me. And I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, I am. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't play with me.
I think
And
that's the
that's like from
thing.
my whole life. Don't play with me anymore.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And actually, this is a great segue because you just brought up Leo season, but you know what? Venus is getting ready to go retrograde in Leo.
Mm,
Ooh.
And Venus is about our relationship with love and beauty and
mm,
money
mm,
and things like that. But Venus being in Leo going retrograde is telling us that we need to reevaluate our relationship with ourselves.
mhm.
Yeah,
We
there's a
need to
lot.
determine our own self-worth.
Mhm. And that's what I do when I feel like other people can't see my worth or when other people can't see me, I take a step back and I'm like, "Wait a second, bitch, but do you see you?" Like
Mhm.
I have been and here's the emotions.
Mhm.
I have been working my ass off, my literal ass
Mhm.
off for years now. And when I walk by a mirror, it catches me off guard and tears. You guys are witnessing it right now.
Mhm.
This is because I have not acknowledged my growth and my power and my efforts within myself enough that I can recognize it from moment to moment.
Mhm.
Mm.
It takes me aback when I see myself. When I look, it is a immediate come to moment. It is a snap to of every single time I stood up for myself, held to my virtues, stayed to my disciplines, which is the word of the year for me,
Mhm.
self-discipline. And that looks like a lot of different things. It looks like
Mhm.
showing up when you're tired and you're a little jet lagged and you show up to hop on a podcast because you said you would and you want to, but because most of all, it was your word. And that is
Mm.
my discipline. And I will do what I say I will do. And I have ignored, for better lack of a word, not really ignored, maybe I'm afraid of putting it too bright. I don't wanna, like, brag about it all the time. I don't want people to see
Mm.
me in the way that people might think that I want them to see me. It was the same for me with fire. I didn't want people to see me dancing with fire. I wanted to express my spirit with fire. Those are different things.
Mm.
But that slowing down to recognize what I've been through, what I've gone through, what I've grown through, what I've chosen to participate in, because that's all it is. That's all it ever is choice. Even the hard shit. I chose to put myself through different trials and testimonies and troubles and challenges on purpose, because that's the kind of person I am. And that is it, that's what's made me who I am today. Um, but slowing down and recognizing yourself is so huge that I'm bawling on a podcast. It's
Yes.
so powerful. And you will go and look at other people and other things and situations, and you'll be empty until you fill your own cup.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
It's that vulnerability that I really appreciate. And like we talked about it in the spirit magic episode that this season has I feel like been like or just a real I think Adriana said it, it's been just a fat juicy therapy session for the three of us. And
Yeah.
like sometimes that's all magic is. I was really thinking about what y'all have heard me talk about it before, my religious ish whatever, I'm working on it. But the reason I am drawn to magic, and Jackie, you said it earlier, that it's about it gives me the self-empowerment that I can do something about it. And
Mhm.
your vulnerability shows how often you put yourself first. Like
Yeah.
I had to reach out to you. You shared that sweet video of you being able to hug your knees.
Oh,
And I
Ugh.
that the look
Yes.
on your face in
Ugh.
that, like, it is childlike. Like,
oh,
and it might
Mhm.
even make me cry. It's this
Mhm.
childlike wonder that, like, I'm getting big chills as I'm saying this now, so I know it's
yeah,
absolute
it's
truth.
definitely
Like
swelling in my
Mhm.
spirit.
that's what magic is, and like you transmuted that moment for yourself, and like that look on your face, that's the goal of life, like to
Yeah.
have that feeling about everything, and
Yeah.
like the self-empowerment that magic gives me, like as opposed to religion, especially like
Oh, yeah.
religion, you seek so much
I was
outside
just
Mhm.
telling
validation,
my mom
judgment,
about
but
that.
whatever.
We were
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's
she was asking
very
me and I told her, I was like, "Man, that's just putting so much power outside of yourself, man." Like, I
yeah.
appreciate a lot of the stories, a lot of the morals and stuff. Like, there's good things in it, like washing feet. I'm a feet
Mhm.
washer. I will wash your feet, and I love that story of
Mhm.
it. But I'm not gonna wash your feet or something's gonna like, I'm gonna be on fire for the rest of my being. Like, that's not how I
Mhm.
operate. I do not operate in fear anymore, and that's the biggest thing is, like, having trust connections is where it's at. If you have to make
Mhm.
someone afraid to get them to do the thing, then who are you? What are you? Like, how
Yeah.
big really are you? And I really love that self-empowerment, like, that is the biggest thing about Unstoppable is, like,
Mhm.
you're not you're not gonna get that from anybody else. Nobody else did that work for me. Nobody else
Right.
picked me up off the ground when I was face down in the middle of my own snot and tears. That is a chapter in my book called that chapter is called Stand Up, and the book is
Yes.
still in works. But nobody else was going to come and get me up off the floor in the middle of my separation. And we're back together, and our life is great, and that needed to happen. But during that,
Mhm.
falling apart, so it could come back together really, really great.
Yeah.
Nobody else was going to do that for me. Not my husband, not my
Yeah.
landlord, not my mom, not my sister, not anybody else, not my son, nobody. That was up
Yeah.
to Jackie to stand up and to go about my day. And as soon as I stood up, my landlord knocked on the door and he said, "Jackie, I know you're going through a separation. It's not much, but I want to take $50 off the rent."
Mm.
And if I did not stand up, I would have not gotten that message. And I think
Yeah.
about that all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Mm. Stand
I
up.
am I am living through that right now.
Yeah,
Like
it's beautiful
every
watching.
day it's like, here's this opportunity. I've been struggling and, not knowing what I'm going to do to make ends meet. And I realized that it has been since 2005. That is the last time that I had not had a job before this last month. That's
Wow.
fucking wild. I have
It's a
worked
lifetime ago.
for over 50 hours a week majority of my life and to be in this position. But I've put in applications literally everywhere that I can think of and finally getting some nibbles, and I started working at the liquor store. And that's
Perfect.
because I was not afraid to try something I'd never done before. I don't even have a liquor serving permit. I'm getting it right now. I've never done this before. I'm
But it's
working at a
so
liquor store in
perfect.
a small town, and I've already met some amazing people working 2 days.
That's so right up your alley. It's so
Yes.
perfect. Like, I can't go anywhere with you and you not know somebody because you never met a stranger, but, like, it's so perfect how, like, universal timing is just like,
Yeah.
"Hold on a second." There's, like sometimes you're like, "Look at this. These people have this, and they have that," and that's, like, it brings
Right.
me back to the carrot story. My first season of Carrots was all tops and no
Right.
root. And so don't worry about what other people are doing, and I was thinking about this to
Right.
myself last night on my way home on my 8-hour trip, so it's, like, a lot of thought time. Um, it doesn't need to make sense to anybody else. Like, nobody
Right.
else knows my story, my path, my problems that I've come through, and
Yep.
every single obstacle that I've chosen to see as an opportunity, because
Yep.
that's what they are. It's an opportunity to jump. Like, when something like that happens, when we were gonna move to Georgia, we were in the same position almost as Becky and Adam. It was like we have family down here that we've grown to know and love, and we've built a community, and, like, we don't wanna travel for work anymore, and we really didn't, especially Atlanta, Georgia. So, we battled it for a little bit, but then I was like, "Let me print out what I need to do. Let me look it up." And I just faced it head on, and we ended up not moving, surprise, and, but think about it. What if I had spent all of that time worrying, sick, and
Mhm.
resisting and fighting it versus, like, figuring out that I could just print out a to-do list and go off of that. There's
Yeah.
literally, like, if you don't know how, you can find out how. Like, we all have that ability to be resourceful. It's just about whether people are tapping into it or not. And I really
Yeah.
love that you have taken your opportunity, your obstacles, and, like, you haven't seen one bum on your doorstep, Becky.
Nope.
I was gonna send you a picture of the window busted to be like, "Guess what? Your work day doesn't look like this anymore." But I think that was
I
too damn
said exactly
traumatizing.
the same thing earlier. Like, oh my god.
Exactly. And you
Seriously.
know what else the universe rewarded me with? Um,
Yeah. It's like you're
Yesterday
so
I got
prepared.
to watch my nephew show a pig for the first time at the county fair.
Oh,
And Adam and I realized that we met 25 years ago yesterday at that fair.
oh my
Mm.
gosh.
And we
How
got the
sweet.
opportunity to be there to watch him show an animal for the first time.
What a
And I got
full
to help him
circle
go
moment.
into the show arena, and I was in the arena with my nephew because I
That's
wasn't too scared to say, "All right, we're gonna start over."
Right. Like, that's unstoppable. That's becoming unstoppable. Like, you're only done if you say you're done. You like, if when people are like, "Oh, but I can't because of this." I mean, you can, it's choice. But I have to
Yeah.
no, it's choice. It's choice. And it's always fear that holds you back from and that fear thing, like, I don't wanna make decisions out of fear, but I also like, let me find out why I'm afraid of it. Why am I afraid of moving? Okay, well,
Right.
maybe I don't know I'm gonna do this. Maybe I don't know how I'm gonna do that. And you know me, Becky, I'm always gonna break it down. How can I
Yep.
rest more effectively? How can I no, but how can I do this better? You know, I'm a be
Yeah.
better person. I'm not my best all the time. I'm a how could I do better all the time.
Yeah.
And that following that if you would have just acted in your fear, you would not have come to that. And the reward for you coming to that was you having that full circle moment with your partner at the fair in a place that you grew up. And it's like I think it's powerful because you especially like you chose to go back. It was kind of like the circumstances, but you
Yeah.
chose, like it was a choice. You chose it and it was rewarded. I love that it was like everything fits. Like Country Crow, come on. How like
I know,
it
like,
has been
it's
waiting.
even better than Reverend Raven, like, come on, like
I know, it fits so much better, and then I remember how much of a country girl you really are and how like,
Yeah.
recognize that in you, like, farm girl, like and I'm over here flexing my arm because I am also recording on a video, but I would do
Yes.
have done it anyways, but farm girl, and we bonded over that because it's like, "How many bales of hay have you ever tossed over the side of the truck? And have you ever swam in a trough?" And, our pasture, we used to dog the truck and to see how many holes we could run it through, and I learned how to drive on a farm, and that was just like, we're built different.
Right.
Farm girls are built different, and you going back to your roots
Yeah.
with all of your I will call NOLA an experience because that's
Yeah.
always what it is. Um,
Yeah.
that was just a little side trail, a scenic route, and you
Yeah.
can that's just kinda how I see it, like, you've always had that, like, farm nature, like, work ethic, I don't know why you hadn't been on the farm sooner, like, I don't know. It's so you. It's so
It's where my
fitting.
heart is.
Yeah, I love
It
it, and
is it is where your heart is, and I have to point out that the so you're working at a liquor store, right?
Mhm.
And, like, what's the other word for liquor? It's spirits, so, like, you're
ugh,
still working amongst like, I feel like they're like it's a neon sign, spirits,
that's
spirits,
Yes.
so
spirits.
funny. That's so
Like,
funny.
and I love that, Becky, when you get emotional about talking about, showing that pig with your nephew because 'cause you've just spoken on
That was
being on your ancestral land so much that
uh,
I just think that spirit is here to support you even financially. That just makes me giggle a little
mhm.
Mhm.
because that's what the spirits are doing for you now. Like, they're gonna give you a
Mhm.
paycheck.
Yes, the ancestors coming through strong, and that's really
Yeah.
what has been, the tearjerker for me and my spiritual growth in this, like, rest state that I'm in.
Mm.
Mhm.
Um, like, my ancestors were serious. Like, I'm pretty sure they did, human sacrifice, like, Aztecs and Mayans. It's just the whole they're fierce
It's
and
the nature of the beast, right?
Mhm.
but also like there were my ancestors that like canned food and knitted,
Mhm.
or did embroidery and were soft. And I want to honor that too. And those people are
Yeah.
speaking to me real loud and clear right now. And it's actually real softly, in a very gentle voice, but it's that guidance, listening to them and having them placing you in the right spot. When you honor them, they'll put you where you're at. You
Mhm.
do the honoring and they give you the reward.
Mhm. And, actually, I was able to find the, marker at the cemetery for my grandma and grandpa.
Oh,
We
Oh.
were driving by whenever I was with my mom, and she said, "Oh, that's the cemetery that they're buried in." And I went, whenever I signed my paperwork at the liquor store, to start working. I filled it all out, and I stopped by, and I couldn't find them. And, I didn't realize that there are listings online. So Adam got online and he looked it
oh
up,
yeah,
and
find the grave.
Mhm.
the 5th row, number 4 down, and we went and we found them.
That's so special.
And we
That
give
is so
gratitude,
special.
and we're gonna come back and plant some flowers because you can have real flowers out there.
Ugh.
I love that.
I think I'm gonna bring some hay, some alfalfa and clover.
Yeah,
How
I think you
perfect.
have to.
Yes, I love that.
The
Clip I love
cemetery, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck? Where did this hay come from?"
Yeah.
Just from the country crow,
We
mind your
never
business.
they're like, "We
But
never had hay
it has
growing
to
out
just be
here."
a few strands and not a whole bale, 'cause crows,
Exactly,
just a couple of
right.
strands. No. It was a presence.
Exactly.
Yeah, honoring the ancestors has been really huge for me. Something that is kinda new for me because I don't really have people in my personal home space that much. Um, but when I go to make a plate for the ancestors, making a
Mhm,
plate in front of muggles is really different for me. I've never done that.
mhm.
But I was able to explain it. Like I made I don't even remember what it was, but I know it was like a tortilla because I handmade tortillas for the first time. That was like really awesome. And I shared that with Becky. She got
Yes.
to witness my like nailing the recipe and like freaking out over
Yes.
it. And but it's like I've been able to honor the ancestors in really special ways. And that are special to me or make sense to me. And I don't care how it makes sense to other people. But that's special. It's that the leaving the stuff out for people, the making a
Mhm.
space for them, leaving the like doing the spirit work, reminding yourself why you're doing it, and you know honoring the lineage and the legacies and the good things within our lineage that we get to carry that and honor it and the things that we do every day, the things we choose that we get to do every day, going to your nephew's fair, and that's honoring the ancestors in a really really divine way. It's
Yes.
so rich that I almost can't even explain it, but um
Yeah.
it's just so beautiful.
So they celebrated, Adam's grandmother's 50th year of volunteering at
Mhm.
at the 4-H fair this year. So it definitely is honoring the ancestors and honoring the family legacy because my nephew will be the 4th generation in their family to show in 4-H.
Wow.
And that to me is it's so cool, but the reason that 4-H is so important is all of the life lessons that it taught us. And those are integrity, responsibility, showmanship, always lending a hand when somebody needs it.
Mhm.
And that's how Adam and I met.
I
And
love
that's why we can't go somewhere and not be the last ones to leave to make sure that that last chair gets picked up and that last piece of
same.
trash on the ground goes in the trash.
Same. I was just raised that way, and I love that. That's so much. We connect on so many of those life lessons. If
Mhm.
the gate was open, leave it open. If it's closed, you
Close,
leave
you
it
gotta close
closed.
it.
And it
Yep.
sounds so simple, but it's like those little things that farm life, that caring for all these beautiful life forms, and practice. It's all practice, and
Mhm.
everything we do is a practice. And some people are just practicing this more than that versus the other or whatever, and that's their default. But I love that we have that connection of country farm life practice, because it just
Yeah.
it's so powerful. Being like, if you don't do it, it could die, and so you
Right.
have to take care of it, and it has to be done this way. And it's 3 a.m. and your colt's gonna die if you don't go and do the thing. And
Mhm.
so it's so much service outside of yourself for a greater good. Um,
And
so
that to me is magic.
yes,
You know,
yes.
at first, whenever I was learning about paganism and exploring magic, in my mind, it was such a dichotomy because I came from
Mhm.
such a conservative Christian area. I thought that there's no way that those things could match up.
Mhm.
But I would come from my animal science classes and go to the Pagan Academic Network, and I am
I
like,
love it.
I am literally studying the same thing here.
It's perfect, right? And then in your mind, like, I'm having a lot of those. I'm in the middle of like another ascension, which is a whole lot. But it's really cool because like my consciousness is expanding so much at a rate that I can understand in the moment. I've
Mhm.
only got like a little bit of lag that I'm like, oh, I gotta go look that up. Oh, I gotta go look that up later. Oh, or bookmarking things. but it's been very much recognizing that everything we do is magic, and it's really just about attention, direction, focus, intention. Like that's what makes the difference, I think, because everybody's working in magic. Everybody is doing their thing. Everyone is sowing their seeds and weaving their webs and speaking their spells, and they just don't know it. And that's sometimes the issue. But I love that awareness of like, this is how my day-to-day ritual, it's magic. Like I get up, honor the ancestors. I just make a plate for someone outside of myself. I think of someone outside of myself first, and connect to the path that was paved ahead of me. And for me, that's what that. And so like these different, it's just incorporating consciousness into what you are already doing spiritually, naturally. Like your body's on autopilot. Your spirit's just like la 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 through this universe. And it's about being aware of it that makes it different. And that's finding the magic for me. That's realizing it's all
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah. Well, and I really like that you brought that up about the autopilot bit, that like it's when I turn on the autopilot too high, that's when I get into trouble. Like for me, and like this is just like another, I love being able to talk with people about like different sides of the same coin, that like, yes, there are parts of my magical practice that I need to be on autopilot, putting my bracelets on, putting my protective medallions on, like things like that. Those I need to be on autopilot. But some of the things like drawing the attention back and being present through it. Like I had a moment where I was listening to some podcast this past week. And I was talking with a group of friends recently about how, I don't even go back and listen to my own podcast lately. Son of a bitch. The train of thought is totally gone. I got distracted by the birds in my back.
The autopilot and calling your energy back.
Yes. Hold on. It'll come back.
Yep. I wrote it down because I knew it was going. It was a good one.
Thank you. I appreciate
Active
that.
intention.
Yes. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Like about just the lack of intention through things when I kick on the autopilot too hard, and then life just turns into drudgery. Like I don't ever want my magic to turn into drudgery.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I did have for you, I know what time is going to be coming up here shortly, but what's your favorite thing to do when you have a bad day? And like bad days are okay. Everybody's got to have them. You got to feel through the emotions. How do you turn your bad day, like stop it from being bad days, bad weeks, bad months?
So there's a couple of
like
things.
Your favorite magical.
First is it's not really a bad day. It's just an emotion that I need to address. So like labeling it good or bad, like, I'll say, oh, I had a great day. Oh, it was a bad day. I'm not saying that I don't ever use that, but seeing it as that in that moment is what helps me. Like, oh, it's just like I have a choice. So what is this moment telling me? So I acknowledge it. I'm like, okay, you're pinching me. What do you want me to, I'm listening. You got my attention. And then I think about where I want to be, right? And I route that path. So I either put on music to move through it. I'm going to dance with this sadness and move it through my body. Or if it's a bad day, I'll write about it. And I haven't done a lot of this, but what I'm currently doing is the moving through it and letting my spirit tell me what to do. So listening, it's a bad day or a situation happened or whatever for a reason. These are all triggers and flags, and like, hello, they're all insight if you look at it that way. And so that is what is empowering, being able to switch it and be like, oh, I can choose to see this how I want to see it. So I'm going to see it as this is a signal for me to like slow down and listen. What is this telling me? Okay, that's what it's telling me. Where is this coming from? Okay, that's where it's coming from. What can I do about it? And operating there, not what I can't do. Oh, I can't do this anymore. Like, don't expend energy on what you can't do. Maybe write it down or map it out so you know what your limits are, but don't go just off the gate limiting yourself on the possibilities of what you could do. So acknowledging, choosing it. Language is everything. I'm not having a bad day, so you change that language. Shifting your awareness around it. It's really like taking the power back and putting it in your own hands.
Mhm.
Like, if you're like, "Oh, well, this person hurt my feelings." First of all, no, they didn't. Nobody can hurt your feelings. You let them hurt your feelings. This person made me feel like this. No, they didn't. You chose to feel that way off of what they said. You chose to react to that certain way. And please, universe, don't go give me heart. I'm gonna try your lesson because I'm not trying to do that either. But I will. I
Mhm.
will. But y'all know how that works.
Mhm.
I'll tell y'all about this, and there'll be a let's try this out. Let's see if you can do your own dance, and that's what But I'm practiced in it, so I've have had bad. It's been a rough. I don't know if you guys can tell. It's been a rough 6 months. I have not
Mhm.
Yeah.
been okay. I have not been okay. I've not been okay for the past month hard, and I think people are getting to know that. But 6 months. I'm not
Mhm.
alright. That's a long time to not be okay, and for
Mhm.
people to not know because I'm tired of being misunderstood. My biggest thing is I had an issue this past weekend, and, I hit myself sometimes. Like, I will just straight punch myself in the face or, grab my arm really hard, and squeeze. Like, I don't know what else to do with that energy that's in my hands. I have a hard time discharging energy in a moment where I'm challenged in regulating my own nervous system. I don't know how to do that sometimes. And so learning how to, like, do vagal and stuff and like really really like bringing it to the nervous system, that has been my alchemy, like really understanding it. And I hit myself because I was tired of explaining myself and being misunderstood and then trying to explain that.
Mhm.
So it was like one
Mhm.
of those ironic situations that, like, of course, it didn't make it any better, but it got me to look at it a little harder and be like, well, that didn't help. And I know it doesn't help. Duh. If if I thought it would help, I would do it. But in the moment, it's teaching me that, like, my ability to articulate what I need is at a low threshold right now. Like, my bullshit meter's low. I don't have the
Mhm.
patience to explain to anybody how to love me, how to treat me, how to be. I'm gonna do it for me. I don't have the patience to tell anybody how to clean the thing, how to do the thing, how to help me with the thing. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be done. I don't care. And so that's why I struggle with asking for help because I operate so much in that space. Um,
Mhm.
but I have so much power in myself, and people have so much power in themselves, and they're willing to give them, then they're willing to even take back. It's a lot of
Mhm.
responsibility to hold your own energy and emotions. When you're trying to change, people are going to question that, and you have to be like, "Well, I know that I'm not healed, I'm healing." And you have to learn how to say that because they're going to challenge you to trigger you back to that old way, and it just kind of it's really just about how you're processing. We're electrical meat suits. I know I hopped around. I'm glitching out a little bit, y'all. We're electrical meat suits, and everything we receive is an electrical charge. Everything. The energy that I'm choosing to participate in right now is so beautiful that I rolled out of bed and barely threw on clothes to come do it. It's that drawing. And then there's other energies that I don't want to participate in or choose to be in. It's all energy, and
Mhm.
it's too overwhelming, or I don't know how to process because I process a lot differently. I'm on the spectrum. I am a different kind of person. I am neurodivergent in all the different ways, and I operate a lot differently than a lot of people, and I understand that. And knowing that, knowing my systems, knowing myself, knowing like, oh, my social battery's low. I didn't know how to even say that up
Mhm.
until like last year. Okay.
Mhm.
I didn't know that was a thing, but being able to choose where I charge and discharge,
Mhm.
how I charge and discharge. That's it. I know that we're not just machines, but we are. We have programs, we have electrical systems, and when you can turn yourself inward and start biohacking,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you have more power than anybody is willing to tell you that you have over yourself. And that's the problem with, like, America, the like all the things, the politics, all the things, the religion. Like, you can study you. I held a book in my hands that I cried about, and I can either go grab the book or link the book, but it's like a oh, I wish I had it. I wanna go run and grab it. It's about, like, different common ailments that can be that, like, what to do. Okay. And it's
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
plant magic and medicine. And I cried because I've never had access to the information. I've never had the manual to my body. And that's
Mhm.
what I saw that as. I see that as a manual for, like, my electrical systems, my nutrients, like, how my body picks up nutrients, like, and I'll show y'all. Y'all will so love this. Um,
Mhm.
but biohacking electrical charges, knowing that, like, if I get overcharged, I need to go discharge. Sometimes I can't articulate that, and it turns into a punching myself because I can't discharge on anybody else. I can't hit anybody else. I don't wanna break my shit because 'cause I've done that, and, I know that I can physically handle it, and so that's where my glitch is at in that. And talking about it even right now lets me know, like, okay, that's why I do that. It's because I know that I can handle the physical thing to a degree, but I don't have to get to that point. I can back up, and I've gotten better at it, and I express it. And I'm like, "I don't wanna hit myself," and that's a signal to my people that are with me, that are witnessing it,
Mhm.
that I'm climbing, that I'm escalating, and that I'm struggling to regulate my own nervous system, and that I need help. That is a call for help. That is me reaching
Yeah.
for grounding. That is me, and I do that, and I will ground. One time I was talking to my husband, and I was getting all over and excited, and I was like, "Wow, I'm yelling," and I sat down, and I, like, turned the volume down. I was like, "Whoa, that was a lot."
Oh.
I had no
Mhm.
idea I could do that. So it's just like it's for someone that's gone through trauma when your body all of us have gone through trauma, but recognizing that that is a signal. It is a signal to your body. That's what my back hurts for. It's a signal for me to stop bending like that, you dipshit. Come on. There are ways to bend. You know there are ways to lift, and I ignored it, and so it's really like just tuning into your intuition, listening. She's
Mhm.
gonna talk to you. Your body will talk to you until it has to yell. There's communication. Language is not just words that we speak. It
Right.
is, and well, I don't wanna say what I was gonna say because I don't know how that would be taken, but it is all hums and vibrations. Language came from song. That's a better way to say what I'm saying. There we go, there we go. Thinking out loud, guys.
Mhm.
Vulnerability. But,
Mhm.
and that's something else is like, just not being afraid to figure out what you're really trying to say and having cool people to do that with. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I
wild. It's all magic. That's what I was gonna link back to. Like you're saying the manual, and about
Right.
electrical charges, like this is all magic and magic
Um,
is everyday life
yeah,
too.
how is a pile of muscle and salt and fat like operating a computer? How
Right.
am I doing this right now? And that's
Right.
mind blowing, but it's because I'm providing the right, and it's like I wanted to say this about your tomatoes. It was, not the tomato, it was the conditions,
Mm.
Right.
and that's really I'm
Well,
just
in that I'm
syndrome.
glad you said that like that because that also brings me back to your carrots that when you were talking so much about the carrots, the
Mhm.
thing that stood out the most was people told you you couldn't
Uh-huh.
and all you did was give them the right conditions and fuck everybody else.
Yeah,
Like,
he
And you
told
said
they
me
it
grew
could.
anyway.
he told me what it needed, and that's what I'm doing, so, like, I'm coming into, like I have, and I don't wanna claim it, but I have fibromyalgia tendencies. I'm in a flare. I am coming to terms that there are some autoimmune things that I struggle with. And me punching myself in the face is me, and I told my husband, I said, "I'm in a fight that you have no idea. You have no idea what kind of battle I'm in. I don't know how to express it." Um, Not only am I physically fighting, but, like, my cells are fighting myself, and there's a reason, and if when you look at it, it all comes down to sugar, diet, inflammation, what you're
Mhm.
putting in, how my body picks up nutrients, and how it gets rid of stuff it doesn't need. And so I'm doing a lot of digging on it's the motherfucker gene variants and the MFTHFR or whatever. And it is how my body picks up B vitamins, which are very essential, B12. And my
Mhm.
body does not methylate them. It doesn't do it. So instead of fighting, just find out how to do it. There's vitamins that are already methylated for me. It
Right.
change the conditions. And
Right.
so that's what I'm in the middle of doing is shifting these conditions. My light just went off when I said that. I didn't even touch it. Okay. My
Yep.
phone's over here and everything. I didn't even do anything. changing the conditions. So also what you said, when I'm in a bad day, what happens is energy, very real, very palpable. There's not empty space, there's a field. And moving through is very important. If you people that are sick that stay stuck in a bed, they'll just stay stuck, sick in a bed.
Mm.
That energy is stagnant. It's in that area. It's never moving. It's septic. The energy field is septic. So, something that I like to do is move my feet, get out of the space I was in, literally move the space I'm in. That is why I've gone to my garden so often this year. I've gone to my garden for so many different reasons. And oh, I'm gonna go to my garden. Oh, I like the hangout. Oh, I love coffee and cannabis in my garden. Oh, I love early morning sunrise. Oh, I love, asanas in the morning, sun salutations. But this year it has been like, oh, I'm gonna change this vibe. I'm gonna
Yeah.
whew, let me go move out of where I'm at. And I don't want to be stuck in this spot. Guess what? You're the only thing keeping you stuck in that spot. So,
Yep.
Mic drop.
and I love
Yeah.
seeing you move, Becky. I love seeing you move. Like your move has been nothing but
Yep.
beautiful, right? Like you have not run into anything that you couldn't handle. All of the challenges that you had, you have overcome. You can overcome or you can be overcome.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was
Mhm.
stuck
Yeah.
before the move. I was stuck.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah, you were
living
stuck in
in
fear.
yeah. Yep. Yep.
That was really scary. I went through that and
Yeah.
we all know this. You got big balls because that takes a lot
Yeah.
And I
to
couldn't have
do.
done it without my friends.
I really love that too. That was really a
That was
special
amazing, like, seeing everybody
circle.
fucking come together, like
Yeah. I love that. Like 5 different places we were at.
yeah,
Like the Stonewalls
yeah,
were everywhere and then just like the support that you got. Like I
yeah,
know whenever we said we were moving to Georgia that people came out of the woodwork to come tell us that they would miss us and that they
yeah,
loved us. And it was very made it harder,
yeah.
but it actually made it better, because, I knew that I had it's that little love note I sent you,
Yes.
roots to stay, reasons, to come back, but wings to fly, you know?
Mm, I love that.
And that's just my vibe. I wanna be the best person I can be. I wanna be the person that I needed, and I am more often than not. Sometimes there are those moments that I'm like, "Oh, I wish I wasn't me," or whatever, and those are very rare anymore, very rare. But I'm the person I wanna be for my younger self, and that's I love that you said about childlike wonder when in
Mhm,
my knee hugging video because I saw that. I saw
mhm.
myself as a little kid, just happy and just, like, before the
Right,
programming of the world rather, because when you come into the world as a kid, you're as pure and as vibrationally as it is. Nobody tells you how to shift your way of thinking. You
right,
become programmed by your parents and your environment and the systems that we are subjected to.
right.
That's why I love farm life because it's like, go figure it out. Go get programmed on the farm. Like,
Yeah. Well, isn't it such a fun vibe to be able to just be the weirdo that you were when you were like 8 or 9, but like this
love it
time, if
Yeah,
so
anybody
much.
makes fun of you, you can just give them the middle finger because I'm an adult now.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
and, like, I just don't even care. It's so
Yeah,
good. It's so good. Like, and I've visited my younger self and, like, I like to say, like, I'm a little kid at heart or I'm a 12-year-old boy at heart. Like, I'm always like,
mm,
"You said but." And, just stuff like that. But, like, really operating, from a place that is like I'm a fucking time traveler, man, and it's wild.
mhm,
Like I have been having and that's why I've been so I call it jet lagged. I've been there's time warps because I'm going back and revisiting and repainting and reprogramming and rewiring these stories and people are like, oh, the timelines are weird and Mandela effect and all this and all that. And I believe in a lot of different things and parts of that, but I definitely think that we have a lot to do with that personally.
mhm,
We have that power of choice. There are stories that I don't tell, not because of like, oh, don't he who must not be named, but also in essence, like I'm not
yeah,
gonna speak that vibration out anymore. If I don't want to be
right,
stuck in that story, then I'm gonna stop telling it like that. I
Yeah.
wasn't like this. I was a young adult that was breaking out of patterns and breaking chains, and me and my husband both were the first to do that in our family, and that is why
Mhm.
we had such a hard time for the first, like, 12 years of our relationship. My god, it was rough, but
Mhm.
neither one of us had the program manual that we have
Right,
today, and
right.
that's why I was freaking out about the book because I was like, "They say there's really not a book or a manual." No, there really is. It's science. It's learning about your body and your functions, becoming more in tune with yourself. I did a dairy-free, grain-free thing in February, and it taught me a lot about my body. Um, that was probably my best month for, like, gut health because that's what it was a gut protocol. But, like, if you know me, you know, I need to know where the bathroom is, but not really like that. I just need to not eat that because it hurts me for so long until it's
Mhm.
time for the bathroom, or, like, it was rough, and so my body was sending me signals, and I was continuously ignoring them, and I'm like, "It's not the cheese, man, it's not the cheese. You
And then
can
you're like,
hold
"Oh,
that
fuck, it's the
in."
cheese."
Oh, it is. It
Mhm.
is. It's the proteins in the cheese and the enzymes in the cheese, and it's the way that my body has a hard time breaking it down, and when I do enzymes and prebiotics, probiotics, and when I do, TUDCA, be a bile salt, because of my gene variants, because the way my body breaks things down, like, I've been eating healthy, but I've been malnutritioned. So it's like
Wow.
just
Yeah.
a tiny little thing will unlock the key, or unlock the door, tiny little key like that. And it's really just listening to your signals. It's not like you don't
Mm.
have the information. You just have YouTube going in the background and you can't fucking hear it.
Right, right.
You
You
got
have
your
to pay
phone in your
attention and
face.
listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's people don't want to pay attention, because it's expensive. It's like turning the volume up when you see all the lights on in your car, hearing sounds from your car. It's a lot
Yeah.
of work. It's a lot of work, and nobody wants to do the work. Otherwise, it would have been done. Um, and not nobody. I don't like using nobody and everybody, but people, some people.
It's hard, it
Right.
is.
It is hard.
It's a
It is very
lifelong
hard.
and it's a lifelong journey and a lifelong commitment to bettering
Mhm.
yourself, and that's not just about the physical realm. That's the physical, the
No.
spiritual, and emotional, all of it.
Mhm.
That's I exactly what I was gonna say, like, so much of it, no matter what health you're talking about, like, I
Mhm.
do, like, in my affirmations, I make sure to specify, I am healthy emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually,
Oh,
magically, like, all of the different ways,
I love
because
that.
they do all
Yeah,
tie so much in together, like, I love when
yeah.
I hear people say that witchcraft is just spicy psychology, because it is. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
find it's
Mhm.
so fascinating how we all, no matter who we're talking to, whether it's amongst ourselves or with other people, we always kind of end up talking so much about the power of the mind and, like,
Mhm.
making the vessel, whatever that means for you. Cause, like, for some people, vegan is the answer. For some people, it's not. Like, it's
I'm
important
getting there. I'm
to,
getting closer, you guys. Oh my gosh, I'm getting
yeah,
closer.
I know.
But
Every spiritual person is like, eventually it has to happen, but
I feel
I'm
like
gonna
I'm
find it.
having such
I
a
love
hard
it.
time.
I love cheese.
I have to tell you about the crab story. We got live crabs, and I don't do crabs. I don't do seafood, and so I have no idea how to really do them and all of that. I charioted, I ferried crabs to their sleep, to their slumber, because we iced them and they went to sleep and died.
Mhm.
But, you're supposed to boil them live, right? And I didn't know that, my aunt didn't know that, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring these crab, cool, right?" Because she had asked me once, and so I brought them and I iced them, and I brought them in an ice chest that leaked in my car, but anyway, so we got there, and then we just kept them on ice, and the next couple of days or whatever, my uncle was like, "Oh, no, we lost the crab," like, they looked it up, and they're like, "You can't boil dead crab," like, I thought you could do them, if they're kept frozen or whatever. But, like, I was feeling really bad. I sent a picture, to her of me holding a crab, and when I grabbed it, I said out loud to my son, and I'm gonna cry again because damn it, I said, "Oh, no." I said, "They're sentient."
Mhm.
A fucking crab. I'm crying over a crab.
Mm.
And that's so beautiful to me. I'm not even sad about it. That's
Mhm.
so beautiful. And I felt really bad. In
Mhm.
that moment, I didn't realize, I didn't think about it. And I was like, "Oh, no." And I thought about it. I was like, "Oh, no, they're gonna be, like, boiled alive." And I told my son that, and he is, 14, and he's amazing. And he was like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, oh, no." And he, like, recognized where I was at with it. And he was like, "Ah."
Mm.
And I, like, quietly wished that that wouldn't happen. And I'm
Right.
too powerful a manifester, and I accidentally,
Right.
on purpose, like, put them all to sleep and die instead of, like, being boiled in a pot, which is what was supposed to happen.
Right.
And I just thought that was amazing and wild, but I told my aunt, was like, "I'm sorry I accidentally manifested your crabs to sleep death and not the boiling pot. I think that might have been my fault because I didn't wanna boil them. I was like, "Oh, no, what do I do now? What do I do?
Yeah.
What do I do? I'm charioting crabs I'm taking them to their final resting of," I was freaking out.
Yeah.
But, it's just that awareness, man. Awareness will get you.
Mhm.
Consciousness
It
is
does.
whew.
Yeah.
It's not for the faint-hearted. That's
No,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do with it? Like, once you
It's
know, you know.
wild.
Like, my favorite
Yeah.
quote is "Once you know better, you do better,
oh,
man."
I
Yep.
live by that quote. Oof,
Yep.
Yep, it's
wise
in
words.
my Project Me corner where my mirror is. I have a self-portrait, that I painted and some other portraits and some magical stuff, but that painting, I created that, and that is also in that my power corner. That is a corner I look and grunt in when I'm lifting weights and shit.
Yes.
But when you know
Yes.
better, you do better, and that's the thing that people have a hard time. They wanna throw in it be like that because that's called cognitive dissonance. That's a
Mhm.
cognitive dissonance statement that helps you detach and, do the thing out of alignment, and my whole jam is listening to your vibe, listening to your spirit, saying what you mean, meaning what you're saying, or expressing that you need time to get there because that's a thing. Um,
Mm,
being in alignment when you are unhappy or when something's not right, things are going, whatever, it's out of alignment. Like
Mhm.
when you're like, "Oh, I don't wanna, eat animals," and then you eat animals like just a little bit, nobody knows, like whatever. Like you're crushing your spirit and you're like your radio, your your radio station is fuzzy, and that is why you're unhappy, is because you're pulling in fuzz on your station because you're out of alignment, you're not in tune.
Right.
mm,
And
Right.
that's my biggest, root of what I do. Body, mind, and spirit. That's what Becoming Unstoppable is about. That is what actually Aura Art is about. That is what Aura Soul Fire is about. Like I dance with my passion and my spirit. When I'm dancing, you're not seeing Jackie. You're seeing my actual soul. And I have many names. Jackie is just,
Mhm.
and that's me in
That's
a
awesome.
that's what I've been up to. That is what I'm into. That is my jam, my thing. Magic, alchemy, plants, medicine, alignment, spirituality, standing up 9 times if you fell down 8, just keep going, and everything is like it's a cycle. It is a never-ending cycle, and the more you realize that, the more power you call back to yourself. Like, stop giving your power away,
Right.
by being like, "I have to go to this job." No, you don't.
Right.
You do. Like,
You
I
choose.
but you choose it. My husband was very unhappy in his company that he was at for a while, and we chose that unhappiness because it was a bridge to the next place. And so
Mhm.
we chose our hard. You choose your hard all the time. You choose your suffering no matter what you do. You always choose your suffering no matter what.
mm,
And I sat in my suffering for a hot minute this past month. Like, I walked with death. I was like, "Hey, yo, can we go? Is it time? Like, this back pain is no shit. I cannot ask anybody for one more thing." That's what was really killing me. Like, needing
Mhm.
help, not knowing how to express that, and then getting help in the way it was offered because God bless them, but they just don't know how because they don't know. They didn't
Yeah.
know how to help me because what do you do for someone that's crying and contorted and doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do when their body is fighting them? What do you do? They're not doctors, and so that's why it's up to me and my self discovery. That's why Project Me is
Mhm.
so important because nobody else can give me what I need, and that's why that book is so banging. I'm gonna run and grab it really fast. It's like right.
Okay, sounds good. And then we will end on that note.
yes.
And personal development has been huge. You asked me what I do to get out of a bad day. Get someone else in there, okay? Get someone else in there, rewire it, program it, and if you're not programming yourself, the world is programming you. I don't watch certain TV shows. And fun fact, it's so fun, but I'm gonna do it. This book is called The Holistic Guide to Wellness: Herbal
Mhm.
Protocols for Common Ailments by Nicole Apelin, PhD. And I'll send you a picture and y'all will love it. But it's got like all these different protocols to take and a pyramid of like how you can help it. And like, so for parasites, the first thing is hygiene, then water safety, then diet, then anti-parasitic and immune modulating herbs, then vitamins and supplements, then Western medical approaches. It gives you like what to do, what you can't, where your power is the most. And I love that.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
I
There's
love,
so many areas that we can influence our own lives and our own health, and I really like that approach.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
amazing. Well,
I
you
love
just dropped all of the business names, which I was gonna ask you to do. How else do people find you?
So I'm on Facebook. I was everywhere. That's consuming. And, being spread too thin, you can't really put yourself into one
Yeah.
spot. You can find me on Facebook. And I have a link tree, but it's Jaclyn Garza Lang on Facebook. It's Aura Soul, AURASOL, for my fire stuff and my dance and my passion. Then I have Ashley Aura Art, and that is, I have so many names, and it's just because I'm
Mhm.
multifaceted. And I used to think that it's because I didn't know who I was, but Ashley is my middle name. So Ashley Aura Art, and that is one of my favorite spaces. That was my first, like, I didn't do Beachbody, which is now Body. I didn't do coaching, and now it's called Accountability Partners because they made some shifts within the business and they're evolving as the world is currently, and I love that. Um,
Mhm.
but that I've always known that I wanted to share my art, and no matter what that was. So that's my baby. Um, and I will always have that. But then I have my personal private challenge group. That's a push group. That's a transformation group. That's an accountability group. It's whatever you need it to be.
Mhm.
But I will uphold you to that. Like if you tell me you need this, then that's what it is. And I'm gonna hold you to it because that's what you wanted. And that's a personal that's becoming unstoppable. That is my
Mhm.
empowering empowerment. That's where we do Project 2023. That's Project Me. That's where everybody's in there doing them first because everybody wants to help everybody. But no, you need to do you. Put your
Mhm.
oxygen mask on first, then you can help other people. Um,
Right.
the better I do me, the better I can do all of you guys. So,
Mm.
um, that's just part of that. And then we have mannysoularts.com. That's the business page that I'm still developing, but go check it out. It's beautiful. This it's just basic right now, but that's Manny Soul is the collective. So Manny Soul Art Collective is a huge cry again. Okay, this is good therapy, good therapy. I've been, I guess, not really talking about it a lot. Manny Soul is very beautiful and very important to me. It is with Becky's in it. There are 7 of us,
Mhm.
and we are all just bringing our different abilities, our plethora of our multifaceted selves of skills and craftsmanship and heart. And we just have one spot where you can come get all these cool things. Like we have metal workers and rune set making. We have art. Alex is a beautiful artist. She's doing a family portrait and all of our spiritual animal essences, and they are coming through like fire. They're beautiful. And then Becky and Moose, like they do Valhalla Vittles, and they have a Stone Ages rock geology procurers, and it's just so purveyors, and it's so amazing. We have a harpist, and trying to make sure I don't leave anybody out, but we just have so much going on. But we all have this vision of like what Ashley Aura Art was, just like highlighting and bringing goodness to this world and sharing and making a community space for it. I have a huge vision of having courses and online classes and just self growth, self development, motivational stuff. I do a lot of different things, but I'm trying to get it localized to like a YouTube and like catalog it so that you can just like run through. But I also want to make courses and stuff like that. So we just have it all together, um,
Mhm.
working together, and it's really wonderful because I had this dream when we moved here about 5 or 6 years ago to do like all these things when I was developing Ashley Aura art. And I drew this tree and it was like, how do I do all these things? Because I have like natural beauty products and stuff. Like I have bath salts and tooth powders and beard oils and this and that. And then I have, just all the different things. I was like, how am I going to do that? Like, that's crazy, right? Like nobody does that. Everybody says, oh, you need to nail it down. Oh, you need to niche it down. You need to just promote one thing at a time. And while that's true, you need to focus in one direction, maybe. I don't know. I didn't want to do it that way. I want to do everything, and having a group of people to do that with helped me do that in this realm, not just on paper. Because it does. It takes a team. It takes a collective. And that was my mission, was to, like, as you raise yourself, so does the collective. But as you empower a small collective, you can empower a larger and larger and larger and larger. Like, my goal is to just turn people into the best versions of themselves, whether they know it or not. I got that Midas touch, and that's what I'm about it. Just turning things into gold, even if you can't see it in yourself. And I think that's good for my business. I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
all the
beautiful. It's so
different
sunshiny.
things. I just, I want to be as bright as I can without, like, one of my favorite songs is like, I want to share my gift without being afraid of being seen or heard. Like, I have so much good to share. And, there was a lot of programming that happened as a kid that was like, oh, you should just shut up and sit down, or, oh, you don't have anything good to share. And even as an adult, because what I've realized is that grown-ups don't know it all. And grown-ups aren't really all that cool. And grown-ups actually can suck. And grown-ups don't have all the answers. And they're not going to tell you that. Not all grown-ups, but they're not going to tell you they don't have the answers. They're just going to say, because I said so, or whatever. And the majority of people that we thought, I have an authority figure issue. Well, like, that person's not really, like, how are they authorized? Like, what are their credentials? I'm starting to question people's credentials a bit. People don't have it together. And so it's really just about carving your own path with what speaks to you and being bright and not being afraid of what other people think about it. But that's hard. And so I'm living proof that you can do it. You can do it.
Yes.
I've shed hundreds of pounds, but I've shed and kept off 100 pounds of my highest weight. Like, I've maintained a totally different life. I don't really drink anymore. I choked on air. I don't really drink anymore. I had like a drink yesterday or day before. Like, I shared it and my mouth dried up like the desert. And I was like, yep, that's my body saying, please stop. And I tried it again the next day, like a sip. And I was like, nope, still doesn't like
Okay.
it.
Body
And
doesn't want it.
yeah. And that happened with coffee too. I took a drink of some black coffee out at the nest, and I was sitting with you, Becky. I think I was.
Yeah.
Milk. And I was like, oh no. Oh no, did I just realize that coffee is an astringent for my body, and it's like just sponges all the moisture right out. It's just about listening to yourself
Yeah.
and thinking and knowing that you are important. Like,
That's
people,
the magic.
yeah, people.
That's the magic, and being, just letting the light shine. I feel like that's such what we try to do here, is
Yeah,
just whatever your magic is, do it, but do it well.
Yes.
do it, do that. And a friend of mine was like, we don't do light language, and we don't do this and that. And we were talking about how she was understanding that, like, her magic, it's not in comparison. That it has its own, like, the sun and moon don't compare. And that's why I really love me and my friend Alex. She's the moon, the Mani, to my soul, and she is quite literally. And we have this relationship where we just understand, like, we never try to outshine each other. We are always trying to, like, direct the light, or, like, Aziz light, like, we're trying to, like, put that light on each other. And
Right.
we know that, like the sun shines when it's time, and the moon shines when it's time, and there's nothing that makes one better than the other. And that's just what we're out here doing. So
Oh, well, thank you so much. This has been an amazing chat. And
I love it.
Yes.
I knew the messages from Spirit were going to come right on through.
Oh
So
yeah, always
just
does.
really
Always.
appreciate your time today, Jackie. We love
I
you so
appreciate it.
much. We're
I
your
love you guys.
fangirls.
I
Yes.
fangirl, y'all. I fangirl when I hear you guys. I fangirl when I hear, like, I freak out when I hear my name in a podcast because I'm like, I'm influential in a good way. Like, I used to just be used
People
to
are
like bad
listening.
examples. People used to just be like, hey, Jackie, what do I not do? And I'm like, that. Everything I just did, don't do that. But,
Oh.
it's really special to be in this place. And I am just so grateful for it. I feel like I say it too much, but I know that's not true. But I am so appreciative of the love we share, all of us. And when we hang up, can we just call back and hang out?
After I
Seriously.
pee.
Seriously, I love this, and I would love to come on anytime, or even just a
Awesome.
chit chat. We could have like a virtual. I don't drink wine, but we could have a virtual
Virtual hangout.
a virtual
Yes.
hangout.
Yes.
We can just do like a witch's brew or something, and make a
Yes.
thing of it because I love y'all. I love the vibe. I was telling Becky. Sometimes I like me and Annalisa, me and you, we sound a lot alike. And sometimes I'm like, is that me or is that oh no, that's her. Not
I
only do you sound like we sound alike, but we also have a lot of similarities. Like you'll be telling a story and I'm like, yeah, same. Like,
yes,
okay.
yes.
So
You
good.
remind me of me quite a bit. And I was telling Becky before you hopped on here, we were born within days of each other. I am April 19th, 1989, and you are just behind in May, right?
Uh-huh. I'm
Yes.
April
Mhm.
22nd.
Mhm.
Oh, so you're literal. Oh, I didn't realize. Why did I think? Oh my God, we're the same fucking person.
We're the same people.
I would really be
Love that.
fascinated to put our charts right next to each other, just
We
being
can, we
born
should.
so
Oh my
close
gosh. Oh my
together.
gosh. That would be
But
great.
that'll have to be for another phone call. We
Right.
can maybe
Yeah.
hang out
We'll
in
have to do a
person.
chart comp.
An Astro
Yes.
chat.
Yes.
Yes.
Astro. Yeah, I'm writing that one down.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, on that
Well,
note, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you again, Jackie, for being with us. We love
Thank
you so
you.
much.
I
Yes,
love y'all.
our host, Annalisa here, and I am Reverend Raven, of course. And of course, we want to remind you guys to stay magical.
stay
Always.
magical.
Stay magical.
Yes.
Yes.
And cut.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Magical Aspirations. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Magical Aspirations to keep up with the latest and the greatest from Annalisa, Adriana, and Reverend Raven, and to join in on the Magical Aspirations conversations. Come check out our website, magicalaspirations.com, to find bonuses from our guests, our Magical Aspirations blog, and to reach out to our magical hosts with questions, comments, reviews, or ideas for future episodes. We are so grateful for each and every one of you listening. Thank you again, and as always, stay true to your magic.